Hello students, I welcome you all in another session of chapter number 1, that is the third session or the part 3 session, and this chapter is of class 11 biology, and the topic which I will be taking up today is taxonomical aids. I am Pooja Verma, PGT biology. Now let's have a quick recap. In your previous session you have studied about various taxonomic categories, like we can have species, then we can have genus, family, after family we have order, then we have class, phylum or division, and the last one which we have is kingdom. So you have already studied about these taxonomical categories before. Now talking about today's session, in today's session we will be discussing about taxonomical aids, and the topics, subtopics which we will be discussing we will be discussing about herbarium, then what is a botanical garden, museum, zoological park, key. And while doing this, while attending this session, I would also like you to sensitize about the need of preserving biodiversity. Now, in your previous session, you have already studied about taxonomy. So now let's quickly recapitulate what exactly is taxonomy. So taxonomy mein what we people are doing, that on the basis of characters, we are classifying the organism, we are classifying the living organism into different taxa, okay? And when we are dividing them into different taxa, this is done in a hierarchical manner, so that it is easier for the scientists to understand all the type of diversity which is present on our planet Earth. Now we have to discuss why we are studying about taxonomy so much, what is the importance of taxonomy. Now talking about taxonomy, it is really important to us because it helps us in the field of agriculture also. Now with the help of taxonomy, we will be able to study the plant and the pest relationship, and this will help us in managing the pest population in a better manner. Similarly, if we are studying about taxonomy, this is also helping us in forestry. How it is helping us in forestry? With the help of taxonomy, we will be able to identify the plants which are well suited for a given area. Then this also helps us in various industry. So that is why taxonomy is very important to us and we are studying it. So in your previous session, you have already studied about the various steps which are involved in taxonomy. The first step is characterization, okay? Characterization means this is a process in which we are studying the characteristic of the given organism. Then we have second step, that is identification. I hope you remember, in this step we are trying to identify the given organism. Then we have third step, that is classification. Based on the characters, we are trying to classify the organism, we are trying to put it into different categories. Then we have fourth step, that is called nomenclature. Nomenclature means we are trying to give a scientific name to the organism. And in your previous session, you have already studied that this nomenclature is scientific binomial nomenclature, which is made up of two words. One is the generic name, the second one is the specific epithet. Then talking about taxonomy, whenever we have to do taxonomy, we need to do a lot of field study, and of course a lot of lab work is also required. So if any scientist wants to go for taxonomy, for that correct classification and identification is very important. And for that we need to do lot of field study. Field study mein we will be going in the field, we will be collecting different type of plants and animal specimen, and once we are doing that, with the help of the field study, we can study their external features. Now after that we will be also going for the lab work, in which we can study the internal structures of the given organism. So whenever we are going for field study, we are trying to store and preserve different type of plants and animal specimen, and these storage of plant and animal specimen cannot be done as per the whims and fancies of a person. They needs to be done according to certain set procedure. So scientists, they have established certain procedures and techniques. We have to use them, and by using them only we can store these plants and animal specimen, so that we can use them in future also for our studies. Now talking about herbarium, this is a storehouse of plant specimens which are dried, pressed and preserved. So now let's discuss one by one the various steps which are involved in the formation of a herbarium. How can we make a herbarium? So the first step in making of herbarium, of course, is the collection of the plant specimen. So we have to collect the plant specimen. So what is the first step we have? That is the collection of plant specimen. So whatever plant specimen we are collecting, we have to keep certain precautions in mind. The first one, of course, has to be, if we are taking a small herbaceous plant, then that plant should be uprooted along with the roots. We should also take its underground part. If we have a tall woody plant, we should take at least 25 centimeter twig part, and it should be preferably in the flowering stage. So once we have done that, it means we have collected the plant specimen. Then we have second step, that is we have to dry the specimen. Then in the third step, we have to press it also. So if any professional is making a herbarium sheet, they have wooden boards by using which they will be doing step number 2 and 3. But if any student wants to do step number 2 and 3, then they can simply do it with the help of old newspaper. Old newspapers are available in the home easily. So you will take your plant specimen, you will place it between the folds of old newspaper, put a weight on it, and after some time you will find that your plant specimen will be perfectly dried and pressed. Okay? So once you have done that, your step number 2 and 3 will be completed. Now you will be left with the next step, which is also the last. That is, you need to preserve this dried and pressed plant specimen on the sheets. We do not take any sheets, they are actually herbarium sheets, they have a standard size, and on those sheets we will be preserving the plant material. And preservation means that you will be taking the sheet and with the help of adhesive, you will be sticking the plant specimen on that particular sheet. If any hard part of the plant is there, then we can also go for stitching. So once we have followed all the 4 steps, our herbarium sheet will be ready. It is ready with us. Now let's see what is the next step. So after we have made our herbarium sheet, we need to arrange it according to a universally accepted system of classification. You just can't arrange them in any random order. So they need to be arranged in a proper manner. And after we have done this, then we have next step. Next step may we have to put a label on the herbarium sheet. A herbarium will be considered a good herbarium if it is giving us maximum information about the plant. So what all information you will be writing in the label? You can write, of course, the date on which this specimen was collected. Then you would be writing about the place from where this specimen was collected. Then you will be writing about its common name. Whatever common name in your region that plant is known as, you will be mentioning that. Then you will be writing about its scientific name. Okay? Scientific name means you will be writing in the as per the binomial nomenclature. So you will be writing the scientific name. Then you have to write any remark. It could be its medicinal use or any other special feature which you know about the plant. Then you can also write about its family if you are aware of the family of the plant. And of course, the person who is working hard in making this herbarium, name of that person also needs to be mentioned. So lastly, you can also write collector's name. Collector's name means name of the person who has collected this herbarium and has prepared this herbarium, right? So these are the different informations which need to be written on the label, and this label will be put on the right hand corner of the herbarium sheet. So after we have done the labeling, now this will acting as a very handy system. This is a permanent thing which is acting us, which is helping us in our future study, and for studying the features of the plant, we can use it in future also very easily. So this is our first taxonomical aid, and that is herbarium. Okay, so we have already discussed in detail how we can prepare a herbarium. So I am giving you a very simple activity as your home assignment, that you have to make a herbarium of a medicinal plant which is found in your area. Whichever medicinal plant is found in an area, you will try to collect that plant, and using that you will be trying to make a herbarium. So while doing this activity, you will understand the concept better, and at the same time you will also become, you will start loving and appreciating nature. Then we have second taxonomical aid, that is called a botanical garden. Okay? So second taxonomical aid, these are not normal gardens, these are specialized gardens where we have huge collection of living plants. Herbarium mein, we were not preserving the living plant, we were preserving the plant in a stem or a dead form. Here we are trying to conserve the living plants. So in botanical garden, a huge collection of living plants of different groups are present, and they help us to study the features of the plant. So that is why they are helping us in taxonomy, and we have put them under taxonomical aids. Then whenever you will visit a botanical garden, you will notice that in the botanical garden, on the plants you will be finding a label. On that label, they might have mentioned the information about the plant, maybe the common name of the plant, the scientific name of the plant, family of the plant. So this label also helps us in identifying plants of different type. Then let's discuss about some of the famous botanical gardens. So while the largest botanical garden which is there in the world, that is the Royal Botanical Garden, and this garden is present in Kew, England. Then in India also we have large number of botanical gardens. These two are more famous one. The second one which we have to discuss, that is Indian Botanical Garden, it is present in Havra, that is West Bengal. And another very famous botanical garden which is present in India, that is NBRI, National Botanical Research Institute. This botanical garden is present in Lucknow, that is Uttar Pradesh. So the next taxonomical aid that we have to study, that is museum. So in museum, they are usually maintained in the school and colleges, in which we are trying to conserve plants and animal specimen in various form. So the first form which we have is that the plant or the animal specimen can be preserved in jars, and they will be having preservative solution. This was how earlier it is being done, but now as per according to the new guidelines, keeping the plants and animal specimen in jars and in preservative is not allowed. So mostly schools, they are teaching students with the help of embedded models or charts. But earlier when this method was followed, so plant and animal specimens, they were kept in the container jar, and in that we were taking the formalin solution. So this formalin solution will make sure that the body of the plant or animal specimen will not be decayed or damaged, and it can be preserved for many years, and in future also we can use it for studying the features of the given plant or animal. Then we have second method, that is called insect boxes. Insect boxes are wooden boxes in which various insects are displayed. So now let's discuss how these insect boxes are made. So for making an insect boxes, we need to capture the insect. We need to capture the insect very carefully, making sure that the body of the insect is not damaged. So with the help of net or other structures, we will be capturing the insect. After the insect has died, we will be pinning it inside the wooden box, and we will be displaying all its part, and below that a label will be put where the common name as well as the scientific name of the insect will be mentioned. Okay. Then we have third method which was used earlier, but nowadays we are not using it much, and that method is, that is larger animal, birds and animals, they can be stuffed. Okay. Stuffing means that we are trying to preserve the skin of the animal, all the internal parts are being removed, and we are stuffing the skin with some material so that it retains its lifelike state. So this method was used earlier, and it was used for display as well as educational purposes, but nowadays we are also not using this method much. Then in a museum, you may also find skeleton of various animals. Skeleton of different animals will be displayed so that we can study the internal parts, we can study the skeleton of different animal. So 4 different methods we are having in museum. The first one was, we can preserve them in the form of jars or container. We can have them, we can preserve the insects in the form of insect boxes. If we have larger animal, we can go for the method of stuffing, and then even skeletons of the animals will also be kept inside the museum. So the fourth taxonomical aid that we have to study, it is the zoological park, which is commonly known as zoo. So have you ever visited a zoo along with your parents or during a school educational trip? So there you might have noticed that in a zoo, we are keeping the wild animals in a protected manner. We are keeping them in very safe environment under human care. We are trying to provide them same conditions as are present in their natural habitat. So once we are doing that, it is helping us in lot more manner. By doing this, we can preserve the animal, and at the same time we can also learn about their food habits and behavior, and we can also study the features of the animals also. So this is how it is helping us in taxonomy. So that is why we have placed it under taxonomical aid. And one example of zoo which is present in our Delhi, that is the Delhi Zoo. So zoological parks are also very important taxonomical aid, using which we can study the features of the plant, we can study about their behavior, we can study about their food habits. So the second question which we have to discuss, do you think zoological parks and botanical gardens are meant for recreational purpose, or they have some other scientific value? Now talking about zoological parks, they are actually helping us in large number of ways. With the help of a zoological park, we can preserve the animal. If any animal is on the verge of extinction, with the help of mating programs, we try to increase their number also. And in zoological park, we also try to study about their food habits and behavior. Talking about botanical garden, this is a place where huge collection of different type of living plants is maintained. So students can go over there, they can study about different type of plants, and this will help them a lot. So they have very important role. They are not just restricted to this one purpose of recreation. Then I am giving you one open-ended question, and the question is, explain in your own words, how do botanical gardens and zoological parks help in the conservation of plants and animals? So you will try to write down the answer on your own, ki what is the importance of the botanical garden and zoological park. Point wise you can write the answer and explain it in your own words. So with this I would like to wind up the session. In this today's session we have discussed about taxonomical aids. Chapter 1 is now over. In next session you will be studying about chapter number 2, that is the biological classification. You will be studying about different type of classification systems and the 5 kingdom classification. Thank you students, and with this the session is over.